think banks in the last 3 to 4 years have realized the importance of focusing on digital channels, and more importantly, moving some of the sales which they traditionally had in branches and other touch points, physical touch points, into the digital world. This is partially down to the fact that customers have changed their behavior. It's a cliche to say, I know, but we live in a digital world nowadays. Customers live in a digital world. So banks have to adjust their processes, and not just processes, but culture, as an organizational culture, to this new digital world. So I think that is one of their biggest challenges facing the banks in the next 4 or 5 years, even beyond that. Within digital sales, I think the most important aspect is a mindset change as well. So technology change is another one, but let me talk about the mindset change first. Customer journey is the term which we see in the industry as one of the biggest focus areas when they talk about how to move sales to digital channels. Now, that customer journey is important because some banking products, let's say a mortgage, so if you're buying a house, that journey when you go through that process is very fragmented. It has physical interactions with bankers and advisors and lawyers and surveyors, but at the same time there are points in that process, in that journey, which can be digitalized. It can make customers' lives a lot easier. So banks need to find out a methodology, whether it's design thinking, whether it's changing existing processes, how to remove friction from that process. And that is a big challenge because you need to mix digital with physical. You need to find out where those opportunities are, where you could enhance or improve or remove friction from that process. So this customer journey is the redesigning of that customer journey is what we see a lot of banks doing. In the UK in particular, Atom Bank has completely redesigned this process from scratch. They have been given a blank canvas and they started drawing up a customer journey for buying mortgages or buying a home, more importantly. The other aspect of this digital sales is the technology. Of course, we're talking about some banking products which are not that complicated. It can easily be sold in a matter of a minute, whether it's an overdraft extension, a credit limit extension, or an insurance for a high value purchase you just made on the spot. Now, to support that kind of application or process, you need real-time discovery of data. You need to monitor a large variety of data, and you need to have the technology in place to collect, analyze, manipulate, and then finally discover that the customer is in that live situation, is doing that particular purchase. And it has to be real time. So if you approach someone 2-3 days later about a high value purchase which might require insurance, the bank is already too late. That particular customer has gone somewhere else and bought an insurance. So it has to be real time, and what we see as a challenge for a lot of banks on the technology aspect is the technology simply isn't ready to create real-time interactions with customers. So on that line, actually continuing the thought, this is what we positioned and created the company W.UP or W.UP, because we realized that the technological challenge is something the banks will have a lot of issue with. So we have created an application called SalesUp, which is technologically very advanced. This is something which Google, Facebook, the large technology companies use as well. We're talking about distributed, high-performing, large volume databases where real-time interactions are possible, real-time data discovery is possible. And we have also created within SalesUp, the product, a collection or library of customer insights. So the banks don't have to go through that deep analytical process to analyze customer behavior, because that is in some cases very complicated, and we bring that knowledge in a form of a prepackaged product to the banks. We believe, in addition to technology, we also have another big value, which is the understanding of customer or understanding customer experience. We believe that sales, hardcore sales of banking products alone itself isn't going to work with the consumers. You need to match sales with services, with advisory, to create an experience which is a happy digital banking experience. And if you put the two together, that is going to result a good customer experience and ergo sales and revenue for the banks. So we provide capabilities or competency on how to create digital experiences, and we provide the technology to this modern digital world. That is correct. So MKB is, if you want to put it that way, one of those most pioneering banks in Hungary. They tend to call themselves a fintech bank, if that makes sense, who actually embarked on this journey a couple of years ago. So they started realizing the importance of working together with smaller organizations like ourselves. They also realized that they need to, in some cases, chuck out existing legacy technology, old legacy technology, and put in a new core banking system, put in a new digital banking or a mobile banking solution, which we have done for MKB. And that was just the first step in the journey. They have a clear vision for the next 5 to 10 years even, where they want to transform the bank from a traditional government-owned bank to a very open banking sort of organization, which works with not just different kind of suppliers, but also different kind of market participants in the financial service industry. So we're talking about PSD2 and the open banking architecture, working with ecosystem players who provide other financial services in the market. They have gone on that journey, and they're still in the early stage. We're having big time to achieve the next steps. And I think MKB is now thinking about rolling out solutions where they could really understand the customer and try to, as I explained, try to create experiences based on relevant interactions, based on real opportunities which the customer is experiencing. Right, so I think it was a quote recently I read somewhere that if someone always tends to overestimate what the change in the next 2 years is going to be, but underestimate significantly what a change is going to be in 10 to 20 years. So I think I could be very brave to say that, well, we believe there's going to be tremendous change until 2030. More importantly, banking will not just be a one service provider to a particular customer. Banks will be fragmented and financial services will be fragmented. So I will purchase insurance from a provider for a particular purchase I made with Bank A, and these two will be two separate providers. So the ecosystem will evolve tremendously. And it will not just be banks. It will be technology companies, it will be payment institutions, and with the advancement of PSD2, the list is basically endless who could actually play in this market. So that will tremendously change the industry. And I also believe that at some point the technological change within the banks, and most of them have started doing that, will bring them to a state or to a maturity where they could eventually compete with large technological companies for user experience. So I don't believe that the banks will lose the customer touch to technology companies. They will maintain that because of trust, because of our existing relationships. But they will have to come up to a technological maturity state where they could realistically compete with large technology companies. And I think they will get there by 2030, certainly, and even maybe beyond that as well.